Germany's farmland is under siege. Night after night, wild boars tear through fertile soil, ripping crops apart and leaving behind destruction worth millions. For farmers, it's no longer just about lost harvests. It's about survival. And for hunters, this has become a relentless battlefield where every second matters and every mistake carries consequences. Before dawn, the plan was already in motion. Radios checked, positions assigned, escape routes sealed. In Brandenburg, Kevin's team moved silently into the fields, spreading out with precision to cover every possible direction. The goal was simple, but there was no way out. Calm didn't last long. At the edge of a vegetable field, a massive wild boar suddenly burst from cover, charging straight across Nick's position. There was no hesitation. One sharp burst of gunfire shattered the silence, and the animal dropped instantly before it could vanish into the clouds. A clean, decisive takedown, exactly what the situation demanded. As the sun climbed higher, the team shifted to a neighboring field. Within minutes, Jay spotted movement to the east. A small group of boars had already begun tearing into the land. Jay locked onto the largest one, steadied his rifle, and fired. The boar collapsed on the spot, but the rest reacted fast, disappearing into dense bushes before a second shot could be taken. The radio crackled with updates. Tracking data narrowed their movement. Then, near Kevin's position, another boar exploded from the brush in a desperate attempt to escape. One precise shot ended the threat instantly. Another field secured, at least for now. Miles away in Lower Saxony, a different team was fighting the same war. Hidden within towering grass beside a cornfield, James waited. A dark shape emerged, creeping toward the crops. The moment it stepped into the open, James fired. One shot, one kill. The cornfield was saved by seconds. Moments later, hunting dogs erupted into loud barking, signaling another target. The team rushed in, weapons ready. A shadow moved. Gunfire followed. The boar collapsed, lifeless on the cold ground. But the danger was far from over. Wild boars are fast, intelligent, and unpredictable. When cornered, they don't always flee. Sometimes they charge. And in this fight, hesitation can cost blood. As the hunt pushed deeper into the field, movement erupted again. A whole herd burst from the bushes, sprinting across the open ground. Instinct took over. A shot rang out. One boar dropped instantly. The rest vanished into the landscape, leaving behind silence and the certainty that this battle had only just begun. The pursuit continued without pause. In wild boar hunting, silence never means safety. It means the animals are watching, learning, waiting for a mistake. The team regrouped and pushed deeper, reading the ground carefully. Broken stalks, churned soil, and fresh tracks told a clear story. The boars were still close, and they were moving fast. As positions shifted, tension thickened the air. Suddenly, rustling erupted nearby. From dense brush, a massive boar charged forward with terrifying speed. There was no time to think. The rifle came up instinctively. The first shot missed as the animal zigzagged. It closed the distance in seconds. A second shot rang out. This time it struck true. The boar collapsed just meters away. 1 second slower, and the outcome could have been deadly. Moments like these remind every hunter why calm under pressure is the difference between control and chaos. Further down the trail, Jake was already waiting at a narrow exit path, a natural escape route boars often use. Rifle steady, eyes locked forward, he waited. When a boar burst from the trees and spotted him, it instantly tried to change direction. Jake fired without hesitation. The animal dropped mid-turn, escape denied. Another threat neutralized. As daylight faded, barking echoed again through the fields. Dogs had pushed another boar from cover. Visibility dropped as shadows stretched across the land. Suddenly, from tall grass, a boar charged straight toward the hunter's position. There was no room to retreat. Stepping back while raising the rifle, the trigger was pulled at the last possible moment. The gunshot echoed, followed by a heavy collapse. The boar fell where it stood. A single heartbeat decided everything. With harvest season approaching, urgency drove the next operation. Every year, as crops ripen, boars descend from forests in waves, destroying entire fields in just a few nights. Farmers can only watch helplessly unless action is taken early. This time, preparation was meticulous. Hunters gathered at the forest edge. Dogs were released, immediately picking up scent and surging forward with relentless energy. The barking grew louder, a signal no hunter ignores. Riley took position on a small slope where an entire herd had been spotted before. The dogs drove the boars uphill, forcing them into the open. A deafening shot cracked through the air. The boar was hit, but refused to fall, thrashing with raw, stubborn strength. Two more precise shots ended the struggle. The hillside fell silent once again. The team spread out, widening their search. Moving slowly, eyes scanning every shadow, focus never wavered. Then, sudden movement. The wild boar appeared barely 3 meters ahead. There was no time to react on instinct alone. One precise shot dropped it instantly. Barking erupted again deeper in the forest. Another boar was flushed from cover. The rifle rose, the trigger was pulled, and the animal collapsed in its hiding place. Hour after hour, the dogs worked tirelessly, leading hunters to target after target. Each successful takedown meant fewer destroyed crops, fewer sleepless nights for farmers, and one step closer to restoring balance. When the forest finally grew quiet, GPS signals were used to locate the dogs gathered on the far side of the slope. As the team approached, a dark shape suddenly appeared in the sights. A sharp shot rang out. The boar dropped instantly. In this hunt, opportunities last only seconds. Miss them, and the boars vanish. That reality keeps fingers ready, senses sharp, and hunters alert, because the battle is far from finished. As dawn broke over the forest, the strategy shifted. Firearms had done their part, but controlling wild boar populations requires more than brute force. In areas where noise would disturb nearby communities or wildlife, hunters turned to a quieter, older method: bows and arrows. Silent, precise, and unforgiving of mistakes, this approach demanded patience and absolute focus. By late afternoon, the team gathered near a feeding station set beside a muddy puddle. Corn had been carefully placed to lure the boars out. The forest remained still, but experience said it wouldn't last. Soon, dark shapes emerged from the trees, drawn by scent and hunger. Heads down, unaware of danger, the boars fed greedily. Slowly, a bough was raised. The string drew back. Breath slowed. 3, 2, 1. The arrow sliced through the air and struck perfectly. The boar screamed and bolted forward, but the wound was fatal. It collapsed moments later, ending the chase. Precision had spoken. Another herd approached soon after. This time, the hunter waited longer, allowing them to fully relax. The arrow was released toward the outermost boar. A clean hit dropped it instantly, sending the rest scattering into the trees. No gunshots, no panic, just controlled efficiency. Deeper in the forest, from a raised stand, another hunter watched the group move cautiously below. When the moment came, the arrow flew. The boar fled briefly before collapsing. The outcome already decided. Further still, a massive male appeared, digging through the soil. One perfectly placed shot struck its vital point. It staggered, then fell motionless. The following day, fresh tracks led to another opportunity. A heavy boar foraged alone, unaware. The bowstring tightened. Seconds stretched endlessly. Then release. The arrow struck true. Another threat removed. As the hunt continued, patience proved just as important as skill. Missed shots happened. Arrows embedded into earth and brush. Reminders that haste leads to failure. Calmness, practice, and discipline were the only paths to success. Near a watering hole, nearly 10 boars gathered. One arrow flew, striking a target that tried to flee before collapsing. By midday, heat pressed down on the forest. Then a giant boar emerged, lured by bait. The arrow pierced its body. It stumbled, fell, and lay still as dust settled around it. As dusk arrived, one final encounter unfolded. The first arrow missed. The second did not. Silence returned to the forest. No echoing gunfire. No chaos. Just balance restored. Through strategy, patience, and precision, the hunt ended. The land would breathe again, and the coming harvest would face one less threat.